Greetings, fellow knacologists. Sam coming to you live from planet Earth. Here, just wanted to show you a little bit of video detailing a little project I've had going on for a little while. Basically, it's scrounging up a couple old APC UPSs I had laying around the house and in storage, and trying to scrounge out some parts and mainly the batteries out of them to use in a backup power supply setup that I've got and been building in the house. So here's the smaller one. It's two 12-volt batteries put together in series to make a single 24-volt unit. Individually, they're both 7.2 amp hours a piece, so give you a little bit of power. Not a lot, but put together and ran with some other batteries will give you a good little setup. But the rest of it's pretty much junk, so I'm just going to throw it away. But the two batteries is mainly what I'm looking for. Here we got a bigger APC unit with two 15 amp hour batteries that are run together in series as well. Here it put them in four batteries into two 24-volt configurations. So two 12-volt batteries put together, as you can see here, in series to make them a bigger 24-volt battery. And there's two sets of them in there. And as I took it apart, I saw that they had some neat connectors, and turned out to be some kind of modified version of an SB50 connector. And there's two more on the inside of it. So originally I was just going to use it to take the batteries out, but as I got into it, I was like, well, there's more going on here. So I took the time to go ahead and start taking the rest of it apart and get those connectors out of the inside of it, because they're good wire, good connectors. And part of what this channel is going to be is how can you scrounge up stuff that you've already got, or stuff that's perhaps broken, and make it work for you. So that's what I'm going through now, and we'll speed up until we kind of get further into it. So as you can see, as I got further and further into this thing, I started finding more and more stuff that I wanted to save. So I started taking more and more care as to what I was doing. You can see two pretty good sized transformers there that I have no idea what I can use for, but still they're worth scavenging and pulling apart. And I found those two SB50 connectors. The other side of them were hammered way up in that case and very hard to get to. So I ended up having to take way more apart than I was intending to take apart. But in the meantime, I found all kinds of extra little things, good little pieces of wire that I could unbolt, like you see I'm doing here, and take it apart and use it for something later. Or there was some capacitors in there that I thought I might be able to get a use out of, and plenty of connectors, plenty of wire that I ended up scavenging and taking everything that I could get out of it, including the transformers. There's a fuse that I got to that ended up, I don't know what I can use it for, but it's a fuse that may be worth something. That's basically be used perfect for the application, kind of what I'm using now. But you can see here where I'm trying to get to those SB50 connectors, and they are way up in that case and hard to get to, and they're bolted in a certain way, and I had to end up taking a whole lot more apart than I thought I was going to have to. But there they are, and once I get these off, then I can use those to connect to the SB50 connectors on the batteries and use them. And like I said, you know, every little piece that you get, you can use it for something. And especially like this, you can take the connectors and use it directly for the same type of application that they were being used in here, except custom make them to fit the application that you want to use them for. So here, this is just more footage of me taking it apart, and we'll stop here and fast forward a little bit further. So here we have, basically we've gotten all the pieces out of the APCs that I wanted to get, and so here we are coming back to the batteries. And like I said, there are 4 batteries that were tied together in 2 24 volt configurations. So it's basically 4 12 volt batteries that each 15 amp hours a piece, so they're really worth the time. These are some high capacity batteries. Very heavy when you put them together, but still worth the time and effort to get them apart. So here you can see where they're bridged together, a very useful piece of metal right here that basically bridges the positive and the negatives together and makes them a 24 volt battery. The 2 are running series, and here I'm trying to figure out what I want to do. Of course, I'm going to have to separate the batteries and spin them around, so I can use them as 12 volt batteries, not as 24 volt batteries, because the inverter that I have that I'm using is a 12 volt inverter. So using a 24 volt setup would do me no good here. But like I did with the APC UPS, I wanted to use those 2 SB50 connectors because of course they're good connectors. So here I'm just trying to make sure I've don't strip off any nut heads or anything like that, and get them off, and of course take that bridge on the other side of those other 2 terminals in the back end, take those off, get them separated. And here in just a second we'll show you what it turns into. So here you can see we've gotten the battery separated, and here is one of the fuses we found that was keeping the system from overloading, and we're just talking about some applications in the future, and basically trying to figure out the configuration going forward. These were in 24 volt configuration like I said, but now we're putting them in 12 volt, and here I am just trying to see what the connectors look like on in these batteries versus the bigger ones that were in the bigger APC. The smaller ones here are 7.2 amp hour batteries. The larger ones are 15 amp hour batteries. So there's a slight difference in the configuration. And here I would just want to see kind of what they look like. Because if you've ever taken apart more than 1 or 2 of these UPCs, they literally all look different. They have different battery configurations. Sometimes they're in 12 volt, sometimes they're in 24 volt, sometimes they're in 48 volt. It's just that it really depends on the make and model. So here I was just trying to see if the connectors were maybe the same or if they were somehow line up. And of course I've discovered they don't line up perfectly. But here was basically looking at the connectors. You can see the SB50 connector hanging off the back of that far battery, and just kind of wanted to figure out what configuration I wanted. And here we'll fast forward to the final configuration where I'm just kind of figuring out how I want to do it and move forward. So here we are, you can see we've gotten the batteries apart, and what I've done is went and got the container for the deep cycle battery that I have, and was wanting to see if they would fit, and I was pleasantly surprised, as you can see, that they fit, and I would be able to get all 4 of them in there lined up in parallel. So that's really what I was hoping for after I kind of saw the sizes of the batteries, and it worked perfectly. And the adhesive that was already on the back of the batteries, they worked to keep them together. And you can see there's all 4 with a little breathing room inside, and I couldn't have asked for a better setup without planning it ahead of time. And here I was just getting greedy, but no, they won't fit. But here we got the 4 12 volt batteries that are 15 amp hours a piece, giving me a total 60 amp hours in that setup. And yeah, here we are just playing around with some different configurations, but basically using those SB50 connectors, I could have the power coming in and out on opposite ends, and use the whole setup as if it was one big battery. So it was pleasantly surprised to see how well it worked out. Alright everybody, thank you for watching. This video is getting a little long in the tooth, but all the video that we shot that day that is relevant is in this video. So if you want to go to the clips that we sped up and slow them back down, we've got maybe an hour and a half worth of video that wasn't cut is in this video that you can watch and get the most out of if you'd like. But basically this was just the disassembly part. I've got so much video to pare down, I didn't want to miss anything because I think it's all pertinent. But want to make sure everybody saw everything, and in the following videos we'll have the battery build out, the different types of setups that we're looking to do, and going on from there. And it may be part 2, part 3, I'm not sure exactly how long this series is going to be, but hopefully it'll be informative and inspirational to encourage you guys to kind of do your own project and see what you can get out of junk that's in your garage or in your basement or storage shed or wherever it may be. But until next time, hope you guys have a great day and keep looking up.